Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Flutter by Heidi, and I'm Heidi Smith, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the United Kingdom. And today I want to talk to you about the lovely Basket of Blooms stamp set. So this is one that you might not have spotted in the catalogue, but it does have these lovely flowers here which coordinate with our small bloom punch. So this is a really lovely way to create some fabulous cards quite quickly and easily without lots of fussy cutting. And I've been playing around with that, and I've already shared this card here which shows the plant pot, as you can see, and a lovely trail of flowers. Then this is what I'll be doing shortly, which is using the basket design as well. And then these are the two I'm going to focus on today. And these are designed for anybody who's just starting out, just beginning to get into stamping. And this is just a couple of cards that you can see here, using the Basket of Blooms, then another couple of stamps to create those sentiments. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you both of these without the layer, so that if you're starting out, you can just, you don't need to worry about cutting anything other than the main layer, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's get started. So you're going to start off, you're going to need some Whisper White cardstock, and you're going to cut a couple of card fronts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 card bases and 2 card fronts. And to cut our first card base, we're going to cut our card at 14.5 centimetres and then score at 10.5, and that creates our 10th fold card in a landscape orientation. And then if you want to create a 10th fold card in the portrait, so a tall one, then what you need to do is trim your card down, show you, to you're going to trim to 10.5 on the width, so, and then down to, I trim down to 29 centimetres, and this is because when people are starting out, it just makes life a little bit easier than having those odd millimetres. That was almost stamped, my ink pads falling to the floor. And then you're going to score that at 14.5 centimetres, like so, and that creates our other 10th fold card base. Okay, so next you want to cut your layers for the front. Now we're going to cut those just 0.5 centimetre smaller. So on the long edge, if you trim to 14 centimetres, and then you want 2 pieces which are 10 centimetres, and that's the same for both cards, like so. Okay, so next thing we want to do when we're creating our cards is do our stamping. So for the portrait one, we'll start with that one because that's very simple. That's lovely simple stamping. So as you can see here, what I've done is I've stamped my flowers and my leaves at the bottom in a couple of colours of ink, and then I've repeat stamped the birthday wishes all over. So I've already put my stamps onto my blocks, as you can see here, and I've used a couple of greens, a yellow, so I have used Calypso Coral and Daffodil Delight, so come some lovely pretty colours, along with some Melon Mambo. And then for the foliage I've used Soft Sea Foam and Pear Pizzazz. Now you could use whatever colours that you happen to have, and what I thought I'd do is I'm going to go in with the large stamp first of all, which is our Pear Pizzazz, and just stamp that across the bottom. So then I'm going to come in and fill in with my Soft Sea Foam with this pretty leaf spray here. So I can pop that, and because it's just a spray, you can actually get apart from dipping it in my ink, you can actually get sort of pretty effects with it as well. So some down low and some up a little higher. Next I'm going to come in with my flowers. So I've just got these 2 small flowers from the stamp set. And what I'm going to show you is that you don't need to use the same, you don't need to use the small balloon punch to get really effective cards. So I'm going to come in with my Daffodil Delight and pop some flowers in like so. Then some Calypso Coral. And so you can overstamp as well, you'll see it works just as well when you just go over those leaves very slightly. And then finally some Melon Mambo. Now obviously I'm going to use the same stamp, so all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean my stamp on my chamois just like this, and you can see that, give it a quick rub over there and it soon comes clean. It doesn't matter with a photopolymer if you've got some slight discoloration, it doesn't stop it working effectively. And then just have a look at where you might like an extra flower or 2. So I'm going to come up to the side slightly, and I think that's fine. And then all I'm going to do is come in with my Happy Birthday with my Melon Mambo again. And to get that sort of ombre effect, all I'm doing is I'm just doing what's called stamping off. So birthday wishes, and my birthday wishes has come from Fancy Phrases, which is this stamp set here. You can see lovely floral images as well. So I'm going to pop that in first impression right in the centre, and then I'm going to come away and repeat stamp. And I'm not going to do another one that's the same sort of strength, so I'm just going to position that. So you just get this sort of ombre effect all the way over your card. And then in order to get the effect of a border without cutting a layer of card, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of card and just dip the edge in my ink pad. Like so. And that just finishes off the border there. So use a fairly dark colour. You can just see that around the edge there. You could sponge if you wanted to. And then I'm just going to use my gold thread. And this comes in a combo pack from the annual catalogue. And I'm just going to wrap my thread. It's quite a fine thread. Leave yourself plenty to tie, and never want to leave yourself short, so you can always trim it off later. And then once I've popped that down flat now, and if you wrap twice over, this is a surgeon's knot, that will help hold that, and then just back once in the opposite direction, so as if you're doing a flat knot. And then once you've done that, just holds it. You don't need to tighten a knot as such. You just want it to hold so that you can create your bow. And with the bow, you'll see here, what I'm doing is just pulling that in small and then tightening it off. And then all I've done is just gathered that together and just edge that to the side. And then we can pop that onto our card. As you can see, nice inky bit on the back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus for this. So this is the new glue from Stampin' Up. So I'm just going to come, and you'll see it just breaks really easily. When I say breaks, as in it comes off. And I'm just going to move my ribbon out of the way. So, and there's our first card. Okay, like so. And as you can see, you still get a pretty effect, whether, if you hadn't got any coordinating card to come with it. So that's a way of making a quick card. And then our second one to go with that. So we've already got our card base. And now what I'm going to do is actually use some of our lovely designer series paper called First Frost. Now this is designed as a kind of a Christmas paper. Silver foiled on one side, lovely foliage images on the top. But it's just to show that you don't have to use Christmas paper for Christmas projects all the time. All I'm doing here is creating a 3D vase. So I'm going to stamp my vase 3 times onto this paper. It's got lovely pinks and lilacs in here, so lovely, Rococo Rose and Highland Heather in there. And we're going to create this card here, as you can see. So this time I'm actually going to use some Rococo Rose. And I've used, again, the soft sea foam for my foliage. That was one of the pads that decided to disappear down onto the floor. So I may not be using Rococo Rose unless I can find it. Ah, yes. Okay. So Rococo Rose, one of our current in colours. So again, with this, all you need to do is just cut those vases out. Like so. So they're very simple. Our snips are great for this. And what I recommend is you just cut round on the line for those. So. Until you have 3 vases. And I say they're a nice simple shape, these vases, so you don't, just shows, even though a stamp set comes with a punch, there are lots of ways for you to use it even without actually using the punch, which means you just get even more value out of a stamp set. And I like to sort of show you lots of ways that you can use a stamp set, so it's an investment, and you want to make sure you get the most out of it. So there's our 3 vases. I'm going to stamp one more vase onto our card, and as you can see, I've just come in slightly from the side. Like so. And that's to help me position where to stamp my flowers. So we've cut out our vases. Now let's crack on and stamp our flowers, then we'll make our 3D vase. So I'm going to use my Rococo Rose and my soft sea foam. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to use this long stem, and I'm going to do 1 on the top. And as long as it doesn't come out of the side of the vase, you can then position your second and third. So you see that all that's kept within the vase. Then I'm using my pretty little flower here, and all I'm doing is I'm just inking up my pink on the top, green on the stem, and stamping my flower. So again, And then on some of those I'm just going to pop a little bit of the, little more. Like so. And just wherever you feel that you want an extra little flower, you can just come in like so. And probably one more flower just at the top there. Then I can come in and finish off. So I'll want to add my sentiment. I say they've made this one as a sympathy, but you could just as easily make this a birthday card, depending on what you want to do. So, or a little thank you card. Just choose an appropriate stamp. And to make our vase, all I'm going to do now is fold each of these 3 vases in half. You can see I'm not even scoring these because they're paper. I'm just lining up the outer edges and just pinching those closed. As you can see here. So I'm going to come in and do my my sentiment. This one I'm going to say I'm going to make a sympathy one as well. Just coming in and popping that, squaring that up like so. I'm just going to use a little bit of one of our blender pens and a little bit of ink to create a little bit of an effect underneath this little shadow, just to make it look as if it's on a surface, otherwise it's kind of floating in midair. And then I'm just going to use a little Tombow on the back of the vases. So take one of your vases, add some Tombow and attach the next vase to it. Don't overdo your glue, you know, you only need just a very fine amount on there, like so. And once you've got your vases lined up, if you do get a bit of edge showing, you'll just add a little silvery tint. Give those a good pinch together. Ideally I should have done that first and left it to one side to dry, but you soon get the idea. So just add that glue to the back there, and then you can line that up on top of your vase. And all that remains is to add it to our card front. Ink down the sides if you want to. So again, I'm going to use the same technique that I used on our first card, which is just that dipping ink in the side edge, like so. Here's my portrait tenfold card, and there you have a pair of cards. Oh. Oh, helps if you actually put some glue on the back of the card front, doesn't it? Anyway, there you will have a second card. Oh dear, I'll get my Stampin' seal out in a moment. But there's a pair of cards, quick and easy, but using some Christmas paper in non-Christmas ways, and a way of using your stamp set without actually having to get your punch out. I hope you've enjoyed those 2 cards. Lots more ideas. I'll do another one with the basket of cards, as a basket of flowers even, shortly. So don't hesitate to